I switch it up. She wasn't tryna fuck, now she tryna give it up. Flooded up my chain with some pork, switch it up, little nigga. Switch it up, was rocking European, but I had to switch it up. Now I make my own drip, your bitch lick it up. Now I'm on my own dick, I had to switch it up, little nigga. Switch it up, add it up, stack it up, rack it up, back it up, that's enough. Switch it up, got a new spot, this one too hot. Took a few shots, like I'm Tupac. She a old head, say she new pop. Jamie old head, say I'm a new pop. All around the world, it's the same song. Never seen your girl with her pants on. Never seen a vibe that I ain't on. Said I'm a star, put my name on. Broke last year, but I had to switch it up. $1 million later, now they mad I switch it up. She wasn't tryna fuck, now she tryna give it up. Flooded up my chain with some pork, switch it up, little nigga. Switch it up, was rocking European, but I had to switch it up. Now I make my own drip, your bitch lick it up. Now I'm on my own dick, I had to switch it up. Shit is crazy, I'm so wavy, that's why they hate me. But they can't stop me, they can't copy me. I'm an anomaly, switching up the whip, flipping up the script. Never giving up, always getting up. Had to make a promise, we gon' live it up. Let's to ever do it, they gon' mention us. I ain't tryna chill, cause we ain't rich enough. Say she had the weed, so we lit it up. Always smoke her out, so we switched it up. Went to natural from the weed, had to switch it up. She the only one I need, had to switch it up.
Broke last year, but I had to switch it up. $1 million later, now they mad I switch it up. She wasn't tryna fuck, now she tryna give it up. Flooded up my chain with some pork, switch it up, little nigga. Switch it up, was rocking European, but I had to switch it up. Now I'm in my own drip, your bitch lick it up. Now I'm on my own dick, I had to switch it up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I hear them whispers in your head, but that shit do. I called you perfect, better listen when I see it. Get your finals with me in this fucking beat. I'm messing with that spotty, messing with your head. Don't it feel better? Lay with me instead. Don't need no rubbers, cause we lovers. I can hold it while you spray. Reminiscing of an earthquake, hear them tremblers and you mad. Murder was the case, I killed that pussy and we fed. Like when we did 69 times. 69 times. You need to get yours, I already got mine. Let's get it.
Listen to me, listen like you leave me. Soma love like ecstasy with you. Are you alone? Is it shorty's me? Profile, you wanna come see me. Listen to me, listen like you leave me. Soma love like ecstasy with you. Are you alone? Is it shorty's me? Profile, you wanna come see me. Listen to me, listen like you leave me. Soma love like ecstasy with you. Are you alone? Is it shorty's me? Profile, you wanna come see me. Listen to me, listen like you leave me. Soma love like ecstasy with you. Are you alone? Is it
What's your name? Where you from? Where you going? Can I come? You smoke weed, I got some. Would that be okay? It's okay if you don't. When I'm around you, I just won't. When I'm with you, I'm on dough. Bust it open, let me go. Get in my whip, you can ride. Let's take a trip to the other side. You got friends, they can ride. That'll be okay. I can tell you the one, cause you freaky and you fun. Niggas tweak, you grab that gun and you let it spray. Like when we did 69 times. 69 times. You need to get yours, I already got mine.
profile, you wanna come see me. Listen to me, listen like you leave me. Soma love like
favorite mystic's favorite mystic. You are traveling with the Hood Mystic. Time to tap in now. Your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. I was just thinking about something, right? About doubt and how when you plant a seed and you water that seed, it take a minute for it to blossom. Like it take a minute for it to break earth. So in between the time that you plant a seed and the time that it begins to blossom, you could spend that whole entire time doubting whether or not you able to manifest the plant that you set a seed for. And basically what I'm talking about is our intentions. Now, everything in your life will work according to plan, but that 2-week period that it takes from setting an intention to watch it manifest is filled with doubt, is filled with uncertainty, is filled with, well, I don't see it, so that must mean that it ain't there. So if you are serious about new moon energy and you serious about setting your intentions, it's very important that you remove the doubt. The doubt is one of the most important aspects to what we talk about when it comes to magic, spirituality, and all points in between. So just want to welcome y'all and just let y'all know what type of time I'm on this afternoon. The type of time that I'm on is learning and addressing and communicating the immersion of soul in the concept or idea of love. Mainly because the soul only vibrates on the frequency of love, meaning that we set our intentions, but we spend our time in doubt, fear, worry, anxiety, and we immerse ourselves in those negative emotions, and then we want people to understand us, to rock with us, to vibe with us, but we don't even want to be on the vibration or frequency of love. So how do we love? We must set the intention for love, but love who? Love our parents, love our partner. Isn't that interesting how we go from parents to partners and they're kind of like the same letters? We want the love from our parents so deeply. We want to love our parents so deeply. We want the love from our partner so deeply. We want to love our partner so deeply. But I'm going to introduce a provocative concept, a provocative entity and energy for which you could begin to usher in the energy of love to. And that is your soul, right? So, one's in the chat if you with me, you can hear me, you can understand what is being said. And yeah, I'm still waiting on my glasses to come in the mail. So it is what it is. I'm not going, I can't do too much. And I usually have these videos and these articles done before the new moon, but I didn't. So I did do it on the new moon because I wasn't going to leave y'all hanging. Because as I was doing the knowledge and doing the study, I realized that this is some very powerful information. Not me, but in reference to the time that we're living in, and really explaining some things to us in a way where if we're able to understand this very important principle, which is to love your soul, then that circumvents our ability to be in the energy of mental illness. So So I really thank y'all for joining me. I would expect to see y'all chats, but I don't think my chat box is up. So let me bring it up for y'all. I like seeing the chats on the screen. I don't know about y'all. Right over my face. Like the words from the chat plays off the dust on my face. So yeah, appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Let's get into the conversation. I gotta zoom it up because I can't even see it. I can't even see it for real. So today the new moon is taking place. One could say Gemini, like when you look at it, it's not really Gemini for real. But when you look at it in the chart, it's not really Taurus either. It's somewhere along a void. So this is a special place in the sky. This is literally a portal in the sky. And so how does one access this portal? It's very much of a deep subconscious way of being. Now, because I had this concept in my mind, and I was wondering, was it a true concept? And although it's anecdotal, I wonder if it is a true concept for you too. Do you feel that you are in control Do you feel that you are in control of your relationships, whether how they start or how they end? And I want to double down on it. Did you feel like you ever ended a relationship prematurely? So, you know how R. Kelly say, my mind saying no, but my body is telling me yes. That type of energy. What is that? Why would your mind say, I shouldn't be with this person, but your body says you should be with this person? When you understand relationships, do you feel like you can control them? Or do you feel like it's an energy that is somehow, somewhat out of your control? Me, I feel like the energy of relationships is not something that I can control. It is something that I will begin to understand, but I feel like I do not control it. Just a quick question I was going to ask y'all, because I was thinking that, damn, as much as I be wanting to start and end relationships, I don't really have that power. And I know that some people can do that, right? Some people can start their relationship, end their relationship, go from this person to that person. I personally can't do it. I never started a relationship. I never ended a relationship. Not to say that I haven't never been in relationships or relationships I've never ended. I'm just kind of an observer of the whole situation. But that's just me. I was wondering if I was the only person that felt like that. Out of control. Yeah, I was just wondering, doing this study is just we might feel like we in control of it. If we lift weights or make money or get one of them surgeries, not the BBL, but the surgeries to make our meat longer. How many dudes got surgeries to make their meat longer? The girls like y'all after that? let me know your surgeon. I might want to partake in some of the festivities, my guy. I might want to partake. If the girls went crazy when you got the meat surgery, let me take parts. I want parts. What's your surgeon name? DDL. Dynamic dick enlargement. Who doing it? Who doing the dynamic dick enlargements? So we want to set our intentions, because new moon intentions. Let's talk about the reality of new moon intentions, right? There's 9 billion people in the world, and we all want motion, and we all want to like relegate to our own motion and do the things that we want to do. Well, you have the ability to do it. Set your intentions now. Don't ask me no questions on how you set intentions, when you're supposed to set intentions, how. Because at a certain point, you need to journal how you, like, if you have a business plan, you have a life plan, you have a spirit plan. So that means to say, your job give you a schedule 5 days a week. 5 days a week. And you show up to that schedule 5 days a week. And if you do not show up to that work schedule, what's going to happen? They're going to fire you. No call, no show. So when we deal with the soul is not like your supervisor, unfortunately. Even though, for real, sometimes when you look at life and people going through what they going through, best and believe they forgot their soul. Listen, don't cry for them, Argentina. Right? Do not worry. Like, bros be always talking about, yeah, I gotta help such and such. You sleeping on the air mattress. You ain't got nothing. You don't got a pot to piss in. Now, on one level, we supposed to help people, but it's a conditional experience. It's an Aquarius experience. Like, I'm going to help you, but you better pay me for my help. You better give me some food or send me nudes. Man, one's in the chat if I'm a poet and I ain't even know it. Hey, give me food or send me nudes. If I gave you a reading, it wasn't no such thing as a free reading. You were supposed to be cooking me up some fried chicken or showing me how thickened you getting. You feel me? Anyways, let's move on. Y'all peep me trying to be serious, but the silly side of me just will not give up in life. The silly side of me just will not quit, bro. I do not understand it. So, setting your intentions, very important. The only thing that's going to stop you from setting your intentions is your doubt. The only thing that's going to stop you from setting your intentions is doubt. The same way as a planter can set some goddamn plants, and for those 3 weeks, the planter don't see nothing. For 3 months, the planter don't see nothing. It's just the same dirt that he put the seed in. This is why intentions is so important. This is why having faith is so important. This is why doing the work is so important, because when you sit back and you figure the things that you enjoy about your life, it's going to be centered in your intentions. Having a plan for how you want to live your life and just executing along with that plan. Every gardener doesn't just say, I'm going to just throw random seeds out there and just see what happens. Of course we talking about survival. Of course we talking about nature. And no gardener is unintentional about their garden. One's in the chat if that makes sense. One's in the chat if that makes sense. Like, how are we going to be spiritualist and be deep, but also be spiritualist and unintentional? But at the same time, clock in at 8 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes you pride yourself in being 5 minutes early. But for the soul, your meditation routine, you can't keep up with it. How, Sway? How, Sway? How did that make sense? Who, in the reality of this matrix, the reality of this, we're more likely to show up for our partners, for our jobs, for our teachers. But you would be so much more beneficial if you show up for your soul. You would be so much beneficial if you stop requiring the love from your partner to be the love that you show your soul. Because your partner is not going to forgive you. If you got fired from that job, they not going to call you back. Now, I know it's some people that went back to jobs that they got fired from, but that's the exception. The rule is, once you get fired, you're done for. That's just how we operate on this earth. Now, your soul does not operate like this. So you want to utilize your soul in all things. So whatever I talk about, we use the base reference of the soul as the manifester, generator of our desires, wants, and needs. Not your partner, not your parents, not your educator, not your employer, but your soul. However, when you do not show up for it, when you do not work with it, when you do not incorporate your soul in setting intentions, then it's almost like it's difficult, right? Which is kind of some bullshit when you really think about it, because why is working with your soul difficult? But dealing with that no good ass girl, that no good ass boy, you did that easy peasy. Why is the destructive habits that you don't talk about, the destructive habits that you don't talk about, you do those very easy. You call your connect very easy. Soon as you get some extra money, you call your connect. No difficult, no stress, no nothing. So it's not hard to deal with your soul. It's not a difficult process. You just don't love it. You haven't been taught to love it. And since you haven't been taught to love it, you don't love it, and you love other things. And the problem with loving other things is that they are unforgiving. And the problem with you is that you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fuck up. You are who you are. You've been who you've been. But it's not a person's job to play the energy of your soul. Very important. So let's talk about Gemini real quick. Because it's a reality to Gemini. And if we don't, and Gemini is just starting. We just moving into Gemini season in the Sidereal chart. So from my perspective, I would say that niggas is about to get crazier and crazier and crazier as the day goes by. Like, because people do not love their soul and they love the external world, it's going to be difficult to get across mental health and mental inner peace, things of that nature, because of what people want and what people desire. But nobody really truly desires the soul. nobody really truly desires the soul. So historically, in the realms of understanding Gemini from an astrological purpose, some of those keywords are trouble, disgrace, sickness, loss of fortune. When an individual stops loving their soul, this is what creates these things. The problem is you love your parents too much. You love your partner too much. You love your school too much. You loved your apartment too much. You loved your car too much. You love your job, the money you was making from that job too much. When they take the things that you love away, you are going to view it as trouble. You are going to see it as disgrace. Your body is going to recognize it as sickness. You are going to look at your circumstances as a loss of fortune. And the problem is that we are going to get things in the world. We're going to love those things that we get. We're going to be so happy with those things that we get. And we're going to forget the generator, the manifester for it. All the good things that ever happened to your life was an inner experience, was a synchronistic experience of emotions and feelings in alignment with your soul. It was great things that happened to you that you didn't even bear witness to. Just leaving your house 2 minutes later saved your life, but you didn't recognize it. So you wouldn't view that as one of the best things that happened in your life, even though it is. See, this is the energy of the soul. When you was beating yourself up, thinking that you made a mistake, you was actually being saved. Always remember this time, this goofy dude that I used to sell weed to. One day I just woke up and decided that I wasn't going to sell weed to him no more because he was too damn goofy. And then lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I'm reading in the paper how he done stuck this dude up, had him driving all around town with a gun to him. And I know Spirit showed me that article because said, nigga, that was going to be your dumb ass. You kept selling this stupid ass nigga weed. I knew right and exact. One's in the chat, if it's, y'all probably haven't sold weed. Y'all probably done sold coke or something like that. But have you ever been avoidant of a situation only for Spirit to show you exactly why you was avoidant of that situation? One's in the chat if that ever happened to you before. Because if that has happened to you before, we can bear witness that the soul is working in our lives. So if the soul can prepare, if the soul can prepare you and also protect you, why wouldn't you love it? And you know for a fact that if your mom tell you to go to the store, she don't know if it's going to be a robbery at the store. Your girl tell you, I want a nigga that's a scammer. She don't know how much time you get for scamming. She want a drug dealer, robber type of dude. And then you get shot, you in the hospital. That's real pain. You about to do real time. And your girl going to deal with another robber and a scammer. So I ask you, if the things that you love so much constantly betray you, why wouldn't you love the soul for which it does? Y'all, is there ones in the chat? Have y'all bear witness to y'all soul saving y'all from a situation? You like, damn, I would have kept being a fucking crash dummy in this type of situation. Whoa, wow. I had no idea. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, Spirit is doing that same shit to you right now. You just not paying attention to it. Spirit is going to tell you something very softly, very calmly, very gently. But as the energy moves into Gemini, the consequences are very hard. Because Spirit don't want you to crash out. Spirit wants you to listen to it, to lead it, to be one with it, to love it. And what we talking about is something completely internal. And if it's not going to be an internal thing, you are destined for a crash out. Remember that online business you wanted to start so bad? You shouldn't feel bad that it wasn't created because you learned something valuable. As we deal with the energies moving forward, it's more of a union of things working together. So just because you failed in doing something by yourself does not mean you're going to fail working with other people. It's actually bringing you closer to other people. When you begin to love your soul, you begin to magnetize people in your life. You begin to prepare yourself for Virgo, Libra, Scorpio energy. Right now. Now I got a question for y'all. I got questions today. I hope y'all don't mind. But I want to make sure we on the same page. Does it serve you to prepare for your blessing by having your mental health in check? 1. Or 2, should you just avoid your mental health and just strive for the relationship that you want, the job that you want, the house that you want, the financial situation that you want, without getting your mental health correct? So hood, okay, I think it's 1, right? I think I should get my mental health in check. 1's in the chat if mental health needs to be in check. 2, if mental health is not an important factor. Cool. But if you did press 1 and you are vibrating on the energy of mental health, then how do you do it? You begin to love your mind, ladies and gentlemen. If you hit 1, then there in the comments or in the chat, say for these, I mean, you don't got to say, but it's implied during this Gemini phase, I'm going to love my mind. And that's a hard and long jump for a lot of people. Cause it's a bunch of bling bling party. I can't stand a dancing ass girl. Want to dance and smile all the time. When you stop dancing, then what's left? Some real deep and dark shit. How many times you done went to the club and danced and a nigga done danced behind you, you went home with that nigga all because of his dance moves. I don't even got no dance moves. I'm sitting here trying to have some tea with you. You trying to dance. I'm like, well, can we have a conversation? Don't want to face this shit. Is dancing bad? No. But not dealing with your shit is horrible. Now, do you love your mind? If my mental health is important, then I'll love my mind. Because I need to have my mental health intact, because in reference to my greatest success is going to be a teammate. In order to be a good teammate, I have to have my mental health in order. But the mental health piece is not in relation to your experiences as much as you think. The mental health piece is related to an initial schism, an initial separation between human and soul. And so we chase that love through romance novels and Bentley coupes and BBLs and DDLs. That's a dynamic dick lift for those who aren't aware of the new technology that's taking the world by storm. Why would a man get a dynamic dick lift? Why would a woman get a Brazilian butt lift if it wasn't to experience love of some sort? Now, I got another question. I'm just so full of questions today. Do y'all think that You get the love from a BBL and a DDL, or do you get the love from your soul? Not a trick question. Now, when we say Gemini is the card of, when we say the lovers is the card of Gemini, we're thinking that lovers is, you know, how you and your baby daddy get down, how you and your baby mama make love on their air mattress. But that is not the love that is ascribed to in Geminis. How could it? Because that's not really love if you keep having it over and over with random people that you. Wah, wah, wah. Love is something much more personal. Love is when you meet somebody and they're not a drag. One's in the chat. Love is when you meet somebody and when you meet them, they want to provide positive experiences the whole entire time you are with them. One's in the chat. Love is when you meet somebody and they're not trying to get you to solve their problems, pay their bills, be their housing, be their rest haven, right? Their shelter, their ATM. That's not love. Love is having your shit together and then wanting to be with somebody because your shit is together and you want to share all of your shit togetherness. The reality for what I'm saying is a huge percentage of my audience have never experienced nor gave love because you have not chosen to show up for your soul like you've shown up for your 9 to 5, because showing up for your soul is hard and difficult. Showing up, if your baby mama called you and said my legs is spread, I'm wet as fuck, and I need some attention, you gonna get into your Hyundai and damn near break the speed limit. You know you got a warrant, but you gonna drive fast anyway. Cause you've projected the love of your soul on your baby mama's wet vagina. But that is not correct in your way of being. That will have you getting arrested, doing time in the county, because you refuse to understand what loving your soul means and what loving your soul looks like. So, because relationships are a process that are out of control. You don't know how you started that relationship with that nigga. Y'all never came to an agreement and said, we gonna be in a relationship now. It just kind of happened. And then when it's over, y'all don't even get closure. What y'all do? Y'all ghost each other. One's in the chat if you ever been ghosted before. So we can't even say that we can control when the relationship is over. Because if you dealing with a late millennial or a Gen Z, when they ready for the relationship to be over with, they gonna block you on all socials. You better not show up to their house unannounced. They gonna get that dog that they told you didn't bite. They're gonna bite the fuck out of you. Okay? So, I know you thinking that it's a problem between you and your baby daddy and your baby mama and your ex-boyfriend. Something wrong with men, something wrong with women. But the problem is you. The problem is your inability to love your soul. So when you deal with people, you deal with them under false pretenses, disingenuality. You need them for something. You don't have shit to offer. You just want a relationship. You want a relationship because you haven't built a relationship with your soul. And this gets deep because we then create relationships with entities. And it gets even deeper When you perpetually single, it just means that you probably got a relationship with a spirit, or you get into a relationship with a person and it's like, why am I in this relationship? Because that spirit is now jealous. That spirit then sabotages the relationship with the human, mainly because you don't even know that you have a relationship with a spirit. And a relationship with a spirit is not a relationship with a soul. So most spiritual people are in relationships with incubi and succubi because they never purged themselves of that energy. The same way as I say, if you never took a bath, I know you probably stink. And you never purge yourself of incubi and succubi, but you have utilized the energy to summon said incubi, said succubi. What is masturbation? But a summons of spirits that feed off the hormonal perversion. Because where should that cum go? That cum should never be released into the air. Sex is designed that semen is more of like a vat, more of like a vacuum. Especially if she has an orgasm at the same time, it's almost like the lips begin to swallow. I'm sorry if this is graphic, but I'm not sorry if it's graphic. It is what it is. The lips be gyrating and vibrating when it be coming. Receiving the semen. Sex is not designed for you to jag off and release your semen into the air, into nothing. When you do that, though, however, the spirits feed off of this. So nobody is single, especially if they watch porn or masturbate regularly. You're not having sex by yourself. You're having sex with the spirit. And if you think about it, it make a lot of sense. But if you refuse to think about it, you're going to be in the 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords energy, where you have this mental anxiety of being single. Don't worry. A lot of you niggas is in a relationship with Lilith, and a lot of you women are in a relationship with Samuel or Baron and Brigitte. They are your baby daddies and baby fathers in the spiritual world, and they don't mind zapping your energy. They don't mind keeping you isolated. They don't mind sabotaging your friends and family. They like you to be alone by yourself. They want you to set an intimate mood so you can fucking jack off and release that semen into the air so they can feed. If you have a boyfriend or if you have a girlfriend, then you gonna release that semen into them, and now your incubi and succubi is gonna get pissed. So you gonna have a hormonal reaction to your partner to say, man, I don't need to be in this relationship. I need to be alone so I can masturbate. But that's kind of like a deeper video. But I'm just saying, none of y'all single if y'all jacking off. What does Gemini mean? Gemini is just a Latin word for twins. So twins in the esoteric sense, which is the basis for all spirituality, the concept of having a twin soul. Now that twin soul is not another person. That doppelganger is not another person. It is you. It is your dark side. Your dark side is also your psychic side, while your light is your physical, because physicality is nothing but a bunch of light that moves down at a slow vibratory pace. What we see as being physical is still light. The body is still light. What is darkness is equated to what we don't see or what we can't see. And this is our psychic abilities, our abilities to manifest. So if we're able to love this side of us, love our darkness, immerse ourselves in our darkness, everything is a-okay. But if you worried about if your mama not immersing herself in her darkness, your girl not immersing herself in her darkness, your boyfriend not doing it, then you in trouble, Jack. Because you can't save a soul until you save your own. And we operate in the realms of frequency. So if you see something and it makes you feel bad, or if you think on something and it make you feel bad, and you feel bad, and you could have watched that shit on HD TV. You could have watched it on HD TV right in full color. If you choose to vibrate on a low frequency, that's your resonance. But your soul, it needs to vibrate on a frequency of love. Love is an energy that exists for no reason. Even if you make up a reason of why you doing the things you doing for that nigga, it really is going to amount to nothing. All right, we older. Just think about if you a hoe like me, only if you a hoe like me, the people that you was fucking with 10 years ago and further back, are they an important part of your life today? The people that you was so much of a hoe over in 2010, 2004, are they the people that are operating in your life in this moment? If you was anything like me, the answer would be hell no. I don't even know where them people is at. The reality is I paid those people way too much attention to not know where the fuck they at today. So if I was to give anybody any advice, I would say don't ever pay more attention to a person more than you pay attention to your soul, because that person could one day ghost you, block you on all socials, and dare you to come to. If a person block you on all socials, that is not the cue to go to their house. That's the cue to stay away and never deal with them ever again. So it gets deep. It gets deep. So when we talk about Gemini, it's very biblical and very historical, where we talk about Cain and Abel, Horus and Set, still talking about twins, light and darkness. And in the mythologies, it always talks about how the light overcomes the darkness. But in Egyptian mythology, it usually says that Horus and Set become one entity, meaning that light and darkness needs to stop fighting with each other, right? And this is what I tell like my younger friends, the younger people that I be around. If you don't feel like you can express freely what you do, then that's a sign to not do it. The key about being authentic is to be a person that you love and respect, not a person that you feel like you need to hide from. So, doing the things that you really love to do that make you feel good and talking about them is one thing, but just saying the shit and not doing the shit is a whole nother thing. And when you talk about 2023, the internet, people that you deal with, they more liable to have conversations with you about shit that they'll never ever do. Things that'll never ever happen. And then they want to put their emotions on top of this. If you say, this is bullshit, they'll get mad at you, right? Because people like to live in a sense of fantasy and lies without ever realizing that they're doing it. So why does a person live in fantasy and lies? Because we have a propensity to want to always be on the light side of things. We want to be successful, we want to be good, we want to be sexy, but we don't want to say what our darkness is. Now, the trick to this is we got to learn how to make our darkness good, something to be proud of. And that's all encompassing of what you're doing. So, I don't know. If having multiple men is not something that you're proud of, then you shouldn't do it. Because if I have multiple women, I'm going to get on this live and tell y'all I'm a player from the Himalayas, nigga. What's cracking? I'm proud of that. I'm not ashamed of that. So I would verbalize it. If a woman does it, I just personally have never seen it to whereas women like actively dating, like, yeah, I got about 3 or 4 niggas in the cut. You trying to be number 4 or 5? Like, very rarely. So, and I know that times is changing, but if you stand on it, stand on it. If you living like that but can't stand on it, that's going to create the energy of Gemini. That was classic Gemini traits of like mental aversion and insanity and breaking down because you can't show up as your authentic self. And I know that that's a majority of people who feel something and know something, but have an inability to really understand that their darkness and their light make them whole, not just their greatness and their light of what they're trying to achieve financially, mainly, which is crazy. So, moving on. If you look at it's the fixed star that's connected to this new moon is the fixed star Propus. And if you look up into it, I'll see if I can bring this down, show y'all. If you look at it, it's right at the foot of Gemini. So that star at the foot of Gemini is called Propus. Propus. Now, this is an interesting star because it's signified by how having a lack of authenticity creates a nervous breakdown. And when you look at all of the tarot cards of the 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, and 10 of Swords, they all denote some form of mental anxiety. And I feel like this is a human process. This is a human thing that we got to kind of work ourselves through. And there's also a human solution to our mental anxiety, because no matter how you look, no matter how successful you are, if you don't love your soul, you're not going to show up the way that you're supposed to show up. And there's so many talented people who are not showing up, so many beautiful people who are not showing up because they felt like it was the talent that was going to save them. It was the money, it was the good looks, it was the muscles. So introducing a conversation such as loving your soul might seem cliche or something that you've heard before, but and for me, as much as I talk about this type of stuff, I personally have never heard it like this. I've never even understood it like this. And it's like something that even I've been talking about for these last couple of weeks on Hood in the Morning, but at the same time, it gets strengthened through my understanding as we study this astrology. So, once again, we may think that we can figure it out from an ego level or we have it understood. But why would the 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords be there if this wasn't a collective issue? If this wasn't something normal? So if it's normal to happen, if it's normal to break down, why is it normal to break down? Because psychologically, we know that the conscious mind does not solve problems. It doesn't figure things out. It helps us in the present moment, help us open the door or, start the car and drive, turn left, turn right. But the overall gist of what's going to make our lives good or bad is going to be the soul. So what should the ego do? Since this is why we speak love, this is why we speak gratitude. Since we know that our soul is going to solve our problems without effort, without toil, then all we do is love our soul. In certain tribes, Propus, the star of the foot of Gemini, symbolizes companionship. Now, when you look up the etymology of companion breaks down to bread, and bread breaks down to break. Like, because at first you would think like bread is something that is a loaf of bread. Well, people didn't look at bread as a loaf of bread till later. Our enjoyment of bread was to break a piece off that loaf and give it to our people. So a companionship is literally the ability to break bread off of your loaf. Now, the problem with looking halfway decent, the problem with being over 6 foot tall, having money or whatever, is that you might not even have no bread to break, because the bread that you break is developed inwardly. So this is why you can have the money and still be played. You can look beautiful and still be cheated on, still be ghosted. Spirit is trying to teach you something. Your soul is trying to move you. When we speak about the heart and the heart being broken, this is a part of the soul that is breaking your heart for you so you can come back to it. Because as long as the relationship is perfect, you never think that you need to develop spiritually. So I felt like this was very interesting. Migrashira Nishaktra. This Nishaktra is the symbol of a deer, and the deity of this Nishaktra is the moon, or Soma. Now, Soma represents the moon, and it also represents sperm. But how does that connect to the deer? Well, during new moons, the deer is more active. And during certain new moons, a deer is in a rut, right? Deers or bucks, they are very dominant, and they operate on hierarchical structure. So some deer, if you ever seen deer lock antlers, they'll fight and then they'll lock antlers, because that is usually taking place during a new moon. And why is this significant? Because what makes a deer dominant is its sperm. A deer, a male deer, a buck, will beat up all the other deer to be able to impregnate the other female deer. Now, I know we think we civilized, but I just asked the question at the beginning of this video. Do you think that relationships are in your control or out of your control? And most people said out of control. Now, this is another case for men being the best version of themselves. It ain't about the money that you making. It's about the testosterone that you building. The older you get, the more you gotta work for it. It ain't about shit else. Because, yeah, okay, you can be, but you don't want to be in a relationship and identify as beta. Because you also saying that if an alpha come around, your wife is more like, she more susceptible to just deal with the alpha. And the alpha don't have nothing to do with the finances. Even if you look at Ayesha Curry and Steph Curry, that dude is a bum compared to Steph Curry. A bum. Steph Curry got more money than God. One of the best basketball players ever. And she seen a dude with his shirt off that's a bum with muscles and did a little joke like she about to take her ring off. That shows you that if you want it, and this is not to be insensitive, it's just to be honest. If you wanted a woman, you would build up your testosterone and you would work to become alpha within yourself. You would love your soul and your vessel that much to become the best version of yourself. So if you was ever challenged, you would win. Most dudes that fight other dudes is mainly over pussy. If it ain't over money or disrespect, but mainly it's over a girl. So what does this all say? This shows me that your relationships are an internal job. It also says that if you can't win, and I got this story between Horus and Set about sperm I'll talk about during Hood in the Morning this week. But this is kind of just setting the table, I guess. But yeah, if you can't dominate from a level of Soma or a level of sperm, then you'll be doing everything for a woman and she won't respond. You'll be doing everything for a man and he won't respond because you haven't built up your relationship with your sperm. Now, women have sperm, women have ovaries, men have testicles. This is Soma. Men have men have testosterone, women have estrogen. These levels and hormones should be operating in natural. But in reference to hormones that be given to you by your doctor, food, and just masturbation, these levels are out of control. So when I talk about Soma, when we talk about the juice that's produced from grinding, it's like whatever. And this juice can be produced in women as ejaculate or vaginal fluids. This is Soma. What are you saying? What do you believe? And if you can't verbalize it, then usually it's a level of doubt that enters into your being. So now it's like, I want this, but I'm not going to say it. So you can do this alone or you can do this in your relationship. You set your intentions and you speak over your intentions through the love-making process. I said you set your intentions and you speak your intentions through the love-making process. One's in the chat if y'all heard that. This will help you at the subconscious level. This will help you in the sense level. And this will help you in the manifestation. Because sperm exists in the subconscious. It'll get excited over a girl. It'll get excited over a boy. You'll be having sex with that girl or boy, and it'll feel good. And then 9 months later, you got a kid. Sperm knew it the whole time. Soma knew it the whole time. Now you can create a child. You can also create a life. Now, why is Soma related to companionship and relationships? Because sperm is the connection to people, especially intimate. This is how two people connect. Now, you can do this by yourself, but now you're attracting entities and energies. Now, if you want these incubi and succubi to drain you of your auric fluid and things of that nature, keep masturbating. Or you could be deciding to give one of your spirit guides some pussy. Or you could be feeding one of your succubi some sperm so they can help you. It's not bad to masturbate. But what I'm saying is, what are you doing with your sexual fluids? Who are you feeding with your sexual fluids? Because every time you masturbate, you're masturbating in reference to a relationship, seen or unseen. One's in the chat if that makes sense, because I know that could be a hard thing to wrap your head around. This is the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is the energy of the new moon. It falls in the first decan of Gemini. This is the card of the first decan of Gemini. This card is misunderstood. On a basic understanding, how would you view this card? Good or bad? Just looking at it on raw imagery alone, does this look like a positive card or a negative card? Somebody surrounded by knives, bound, blindfolded, not looking too happy. That to me would be synonymous with a negative energy. Why though? Why is it synonymous with a negative energy? Because we don't want to use our mind. We don't want to meditate. We don't want to concentrate. We just want to take fancy fly pictures on Instagram. We want to be successful in our business. We want to be successful in our relationship, but we don't want to acknowledge what our mind is. Is your mind a paradise or is your mind a prison? Because you could very well see a negative scene, but if you look lower, you see a beautiful terrain of oceans and rivers and lakes and mountains and castles. But what is the symbolism saying? If being bound and tied up and blindfolded and being unable to move is a bad thing, then that's basically saying that your mind is inhospitable. You can't sit within your mind to meditate, to contact your soul, to astral travel, to have psychic experiences. You want to be on the go. You want to make money. You want to live your best life. But if you said, okay, stop, blindfold yourself, bind yourself, and stay within your mind, now it is an attack. Now it's a negative card. However, if you were to immerse your mind in the modality of love, if your mind was focused in on the love of the soul, why would you need your physical bodies? I'll give you this jewel. You do not need your physical bodies or your eyes to cross dimensions. What you see on the physical world is irrelevant to the relationship you have with your soul. Where you're able to move to is irrelevant to the relationship you have with your soul. If you're able to get the new apartment, new house, if you're able to move to a new place. Not to say that these things are bad, but these things are also irrelevant to being able to love your soul. So if I was bound, tied up, imprisoned, I could still love my soul. And for a lot of men, not every man, a lot of men have to go to prison to learn this lesson. Because you have to be able to get your rights taken away from you to realize that they weren't even rights at all. And the only right that they cannot take away from you is the right that you'll always have. And that is your mind. So if your mind is a paradise, based upon your routine, based on things that you do that cultivate and create an energy of inward love, you cannot act in a negative way. You cannot do bad things. Bad things, it's hard for things to happen. Because to love your soul is also to trust your soul. To trust your soul is to be guided by your soul. I'm not only a client, I'm not only the president of doing this work, I'm also a client. And what I'm saying is that you'll just look back and say, wow, that was amazing. My soul was leading me this whole entire time. I could have did all of the shit that I done blindfolded and bound. I could have been in every relationship, could have got rid of every relationship. It would have worked out the same way. Because everything is the way it's supposed to be. I am not in control. So I wanted to put game onto you. I got me some clear calcite to really get into the energy of removing all blockages. What I mean by removing all blockages is not being in the energy of thinking that I know, but learning how to trust my soul. And that's not something that I can boast about. That is something that I have to actually do in real time. It's a lot of times spirituality, people can get on here and act like they know, but the reality is that none of us do know. So we would just need to be clear and intuitive and be honest about the ways for which we loved others more than we loved our soul. And begin to redirect our energy. Calcite is one of the crystals that I've been using to help me like really get into an energy of just no negativity, all peace. And you know, at this point, I'm just letting people's problems be their problems, but also dealing with my own problems. And calcite is a very powerful energy. I got it soon as you walk into my house, and it's like I could tell how clear the energy is just in the front room. So I suggest and urge everybody, if you have the means, the funds, or the resources to get you some clear calcite, click the link in the description, read the new moon article. I've been super busy doing a lot of different shit, but I wanted to kind of take the time to go over this new moon, go over my notes in reference to the new moon, share that with y'all, because I think it's a very important message to love the soul. And it's a lot of good things that's happened for me and my family this year. And I don't want to get so caught up in the good things that's happening that I don't set time apart to really just share. And, you know, these are the things that help me get to where I'm at today. So I would be a fool to forget where I came from and, you know, keep fighting a good fight. And the fight for me is learning how to love unconditionally in the midst of, you know, people who love you conditionally. But that's the fight. But it's not about other people. It's about dealing with the soul. And why do we deal with the soul? Because the soul will always forgive you in a space where you could be loving a girl and she ghosts you just because you triggered her. So this is the world that we live in, and ain't no guarantees with people, but I promise you the guarantee is going to be with your soul. This has been another edition of Hood in the Morning. I am your lovely host, even though it's not the morning right now. Somewhere in the world, It is a morning. So I want to say grand rising to those who are just now waking up. But you know, we've been up for a long, long time. Thank y'all for tapping in with me. I'm the Mystic, also known as Kyrie Anthony. Go ahead and Google that name. Not Kyrie Irving, not Kyrie Walker, Kyrie Anthony. Check out my books. Check out my website, ColumbianExchange.com. Check out my psychedelic site. Yes, I will get you some psychedelics delivered to your front door in discreet packaging for a very low price. WhiteRabbitPsych.com. Don't tell nobody. GoodMystic.com, which is my blog. Really thank y'all for rocking with me thus far. Like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, man, peace. And I'll see y'all on the flip side.
They ain't rooting for me, they ain't clapping for me. I'm only saying, can somebody just be happy for me? I really hate to say I told you so, so I bite my tongue, but you know, no.
Your favorite mystic's favorite mystic. You are traveling with the Hood Mystic. Time to tap in now. Your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer. You are now